Welcome to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're going to unpack something that is quite literally transforming the way we interact with complex professional audio systems. We're looking at a massive breakthrough in how we communicate with our hardware. Specifically, we're going to dive into the dMix 128, which is a heavy-hitting digital mixer, and explore exactly why integrating an MCP server completely changes the game for pro audio control. If you've ever felt totally bogged down by the sheer complexity of modern audio network setups, this explainer is going to show you a completely new path forward. So, let's get into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Think about it. What if your 128-channel audio mixer could just understand plain English? We're so used to living in this world where managing a massive, high-channel count digital system basically requires a computer science degree, right? You always have to speak the machine's language. But imagine a scenario where that barrier is completely gone. Imagine a world where your audio routing, your system diagnostics, and your configuration don't require you to translate every goal into machine code or endless menu clicks. That's exactly the paradigm shift we're looking at today.
Section 1. The Audio Control Challenge. Let's look at the audio routing friction that engineers face every single day.
So historically, operating professional audio gear has meant remembering these incredibly complex commands. You're wrestling with dense IP protocols just to get two pieces of gear to talk to each other, constantly hunting for specific parameters that are buried deep within convoluted menu trees. It's rigid, it's really slow, and frankly, it leaves a lot of room for human error. But thanks to MCC, the new way is entirely different. Controls are now exposed in structured, readable formats. It takes all that hidden, complex data and translates it into something incredibly clear. It's a total shift from a rigid control method to this streamlined, AI-ready paradigm.
Section 2. Enter the MCP server, our new smart interpreter.
So, the crucial point here is how this technology acts as a brilliant interpreter. An MCP server is essentially a system that allows software, external control systems, and, this is the truly exciting part, AI-style assistants to communicate with the hardware in a much smarter way. Instead of forcing external systems to blindly guess or use clunky protocols, the MCP server tells those systems exactly what the mixer can do. It exposes what parameters are available and dictates how to control them safely. It's kind of like giving your audio hardware a highly articulate voice so it can perfectly explain itself to any software that wants to control it.
Section 3. The dMix 128 Powerhouse. Let's ground this whole software discussion in the physical hardware we're actually controlling.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that we aren't just talking about some simple desktop interface. The dMix 128 is a true powerhouse. Managing a 128-channel digital mixer is a massive amount of audio. And when you factor in advanced IP network standards like AES67, NMOS integration, and SMPTE 211030 support, you're suddenly managing critical, ultra-low latency audio streams over incredibly complex networks. Add in advanced DSP and remote control capabilities, and you've got a heavily loaded system. Managing all those connectivity examples and processing parameters manually, it's daunting. And that is exactly why bringing an MCP server into this specific high-tech hardware is so revolutionary for system integration.
Section 4. Plain English Mixer Commands. Let's look at this conversational control in action.
Because of the MCP server, we can now entirely bypass traditional web interfaces, OSC, Crestron, or QSys programming. We can move straight into conversational control. Just listen to this. Set up a vocal channel with HPF, compression, and a short plate reverb. Think about that for a second. Normally, achieving that requires selecting a channel, navigating to the EQ section to engage the high-pass filter, moving to a dynamics page for compression, and then routing an aux to an effects return loaded with a reverb. It's that universally shared pain of routing a massive board while the lead singer is tapping the mic impatiently during soundcheck. But now, with an MCP server exposing the parameters to plain English tools, you literally just state what you want. It demonstrates how unbelievably fast initial setup and advanced DSP routing become.
Let's look at another prompt. Show me which AES67 streams are active. Earlier, we talked about the old headache of wrestling with IP protocols. Well, here's your solution. Network diagnostics can be incredibly stressful, especially during a live setup when you're trying to verify AES67 connectivity. But instead of pulling up a separate network management tool or digging through system routing pages, you just ask the system. This kind of natural language capability instantly demystifies complex network diagnostics and IP routing. It just makes integration so much smoother.
And this brilliantly illustrates the operational side. Imagine giving the command, mute all stage inputs except the lectern. You're controlling a 128-channel board.
Picture a chaotic moment during a live event where you need to instantly kill all the stage noise but keep the main speaker live. Rather than frantically trying to select a mute group you hopefully remembered to program or physically dragging your fingers across banks of faders, you just deliver one plain English instruction. The AI assistant understands the hardware parameters through the MCP server and safely executes that sweeping command instantly.
Section 5. The future of integration. Let's zoom out and look at what this means moving forward. Adding an MCP server makes the dMix 12.8 infinitely more future-proof. It absolutely opens the door to smarter installs and significantly faster setup times. It enables easier support and remote diagnostics, meaning a technician can troubleshoot a rig simply by asking the system plain English questions from miles away. It even paves the way for custom user interfaces built exactly for a client's specific needs. The big takeaway here is that this isn't just about making a single mixer easier to use. It's about making the whole audio system fundamentally easier to understand, to configure, to support, and to expand. We're bridging the gap between massive technical capability and intuitive human operation.
So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought today. Take a hard look at your current workflow. Look at the installations you are managing right now. Is your audio system actually ready for the next generation of natural language control? The dMix 128 has already stepped into that future, proving that professional audio integration doesn't have to be a constant battle against complexity. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep pushing the boundaries of what your tech can do, and I'll see you next time.